name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy and sensitive data and APIs. So APIs are application programming interfaces. I like to call them connectors, data connectors. So it's kind of a way for applications or different data sets to push and pull data from one to another. APIs are used a lot in mobile apps in terms of what capabilities that the apps use that are native to particular devices and operating systems. One problem that comes up with APIs and sensitive data is around kind of accessibility features. So most websites, most devices, there are laws in different countries around how they have to create accessibility options for people who are using phones, whether they have, certain disabilities, like maybe they're hearing impaired, maybe they're sight impaired. They want to make sure, for example, let's say images, they have a kind of alternate text, or they're not communicating information in ways, for example, let's say you have something that's color coded, and the only way someone would be able to understand it is if they knew the color. So if someone was colorblind, they wouldn't be able to understand the information. The problem with APIs and accessibility is, and companies like Google and Apple are trying to combat this, and they're seeing people tapping into accessibility features when their app is really not using them for those type of purposes, to be able to kind of surreptitiously either target people for advertising, maybe in sensitive categories of data, or be able to serve them sort of ads and things like that. So I think companies that sort of do this, they should be aware. If you haven't been kicked out of the App Store yet, you may be kicked out of the App Store. But I think, those types of accessibility options are really to help people navigate those devices, not to be sold, ads, or not to turn on, like, for example, someone at a device level says, I don't want to be tracked. You don't want to create situations where they're creating tracking capabilities when someone is turning on accessibility modes. Also, some companies have gotten into trouble by trying to target people using kind of sensitive category data. So health can be part of sensitive category data. So just because, for example, someone uses an accessibility feature on their phone, if you retarget them for advertising that's around kind of a disability, you may run afoul of some data privacy regulation. So I think marketers need to be really careful as they go into, when they're targeting people for ads, that they're not crossing the line into those sensitive categories and not abusing things like an accessibility API or different APIs around accessibility to maybe do things that the individual would not agree to. So I think we're going to see more toughness from app stores in this area, and I think around websites as well. I think people who are kind of using those accessibility options to hide things that they probably shouldn't be doing anyway, like maybe tracking people or retargeting them for something that's in a sensitive health category, it should just be more eye-opening. So I recommend that people, especially if they're doing apps, make sure that their data collection in that way isn't running afoul of what kind of the spirit of what these laws are being made for, and also what the the OS operators are thinking is appropriate for the use of accessibility modes on mobile devices and in websites. That's it. Thank you.